Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're actually diving into the biblical text to uncover a really special toolkit provided by God. Now, this isn't a toolkit for fixing a flat tire on your bike or, building a birdhouse. It's a wisdom toolkit. He loves us so much that he wants to equip us with exactly what we need to make amazing choices and build a truly great life. Think about it for a second. Have you ever tried to argue with someone who just absolutely would not listen? Or maybe you ignored some really solid advice from a parent or a teacher, and later you totally wished you hadn't? We've all been there, right? Well, let's see exactly what the biblical text says about how God's wisdom helps us handle these exact everyday moments. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the gift of wisdom. So, before we even crack open this toolkit, we gotta ask, what actually is a proverb? Well, basically, it's a short, super wise instruction straight from the biblical text. Think of it kind of like a really helpful life hack that helps us understand exactly how he wants us to live. These aren't just a list of boring rules to follow. They are literally the secrets to living a joyful and peaceful life. Moving right along to section 2, accepting loving correction. Okay, so the very first tool in our kit is all about how we handle advice. There's this incredibly powerful verse here that warns us against being stiff-necked. Now, imagine trying to steer a huge, stubborn horse that flat out refuses to budge. Being stiff-necked is exactly like that. It's being super stubborn when parents, coaches, or teachers try to correct us. A rebuke is really just a correction. It's a loving way of someone saying, hey, watch out, you're heading the wrong way. But if we ignore those warnings over and over again, this verse tells us we're heading for sudden trouble. The big takeaway? Listen and learn. Actually, listening to correction keeps us on a super safe path instead of, wandering off a cliff into total disaster. When we pause and accept correction, we are grabbing a major tool right out of God's wisdom toolkit. We're basically telling him, I want to learn and I want to do things your way. That brings us to section 3, choosing the right path. Every single daily choice we make is like taking a step on a path. Verse 3 tells us that a person who truly loves wisdom brings just immense joy to his Father. But on the flip side, keeping bad company completely wastes all the good things he has given us. Choosing friends who constantly make bad choices is literally like taking a beautiful, expensive gift and just throwing it right in the trash. But loving his wisdom, that brings deep joy to you and your entire family. Verses 5 and 6 give us another really clear choice to make. You know how sometimes people use fake flattery, like giving totally fake compliments just to get their own way? Well, the biblical text tells us this actually spreads a hidden net to trap their own feet. Evildoers end up getting tripped up by their own bad choices. But look at the righteous, the people who love him. Because they skip right past that trap of sin, they get to shout for joy and run free. Doing what pleases him quite literally leads to a happier life. Next up is section 4, fairness and helping others. Here is something absolutely crucial to remember. God cares deeply about how we treat the people around us. Verse 7 makes it crystal clear that a righteous person cares a lot about fairness and helping those in need. They care about justice for the poor. If someone is being treated unfairly on the playground or left out of a game, a wise kid steps up to help them. The wicked, they just do not care. God's wisdom actually gives us a heart that protects others, exactly like he does. We also see in verse 4 that fairness actually brings stability. It says that by justice, a king makes a country stable. But greedy people, they just tear it right down. And hey, this isn't just for kings running a whole country. It is totally true for us too. When we're fair, when we're honest, and when we aren't greedy with our things, we bring peace to our classrooms and our homes. Greed just breaks everything apart. Let's dive into section 5, handling anger and arguments. Okay, be honest, have you ever tried to reason with someone who literally just won't stop yelling? The biblical text drops some amazing advice for us here in verse 9. It says, if a wise person goes to court or, tries to settle a really big argument with a fool, the fool just rages and scoffs. That means they just yell, they make fun of you, and there's absolutely zero peace. God is teaching us here that sometimes the absolute wisest thing you can do is simply stop arguing. Building right on that, verse 8 shows us that foolish mockers, the kind of people who constantly make fun of others and just thrive on drama, they can stir up an entire city. They cause massive trouble. But the wise? The biblical text says they turn away anger. Wise kids know exactly how to walk away, take a deep breath, and just calm things down. They consciously choose to be peacemakers. All right, let's wrap things up with section 6, living out God's wisdom. So if we take this entire wisdom toolkit and actually use it, what happens? What are the real results? Well, summarizing verses 2, 4, and 9 here, when we do things His way, people rejoice. God's way brings incredible stability, gladness, and joy. But the foolish way? It literally leads to people groaning, it tears friendships apart, and it leaves people trapped in a net with absolutely no peace. His way is just better. To completely wrap up our explainer today, here is how you can use this toolkit every single day. Be a person who listens to correction instead of being stubborn. Always love His wisdom. Deeply care about fairness and stand up for kids who need your help. And finally, turn away from anger to be a peacemaker. God gave us this absolutely amazing toolkit in the biblical text to help us build a joyful and peaceful life. And it is sitting right there, ready for you to use. So when you walk out the door tomorrow, will you open up that toolkit and let His wisdom guide your steps? Or will you try to build your life completely empty-handed? Dive into Proverbs for yourself and discover what other awesome tools He has waiting just for you.